It's too bad. Here, Utah finally has its place on the national scene, which we've wanted forever. We've always been bitter at Iowa and New Hampshire, and it doesn't go perfectly for us.
It is too bad. Tonight, Utah political leaders say there is a lot to learn following the state's first presidential caucus. Good evening. The KSL newsroom received dozens of emails about long lines, disorganization, and even concerns about double voting.
News specialist Ladd Egan spoke with leaders of both parties about those problems. He's live in Salt Lake City right now. Ladd, what did they say?
Well, first of all, Democrats say they were at a disadvantage. There was no state funding to put on this election, and they say Republicans have a bigger budget than they do. But both parties, the leaders, say they did the best they could, with this being the first year that a presidential preference poll was combined with caucus meetings.
The paperwork, once it was turned in, was just sitting in a box under a table. There's just no security.
Republican volunteer Randy O'Hara hosted a caucus meeting Tuesday. He's worked with elections before and says he didn't like what he saw.
You have to have faith in the process. And if people are voting twice, or if there's the potential for voter fraud, because there were very few checks and balances on the system.
There were more problems for Republicans online, where first ever web-based voting turned problematic, with many users encountering error messages.
You're turning people off.
The confusion and delays were worse on the Democratic side, where online voting wasn't an option and long lines lasted late into the evening.
Frustrations with our disabled community and seniors who just really felt that there was no way that they could navigate the accessibility issues.
Voters waited 2 hours to cast a ballot, with overwhelmed caucus sites rushing to print thousands of ballots and volunteers not even checking IDs.
We just didn't have the capacity financially or resource-wise to put on the primary the way that the Republicans did.
Those frustrated with what happened Tuesday say having county clerks run a professional primary election would be an easy solution.
It should be organized by the state elections office, and we should have funded that appropriately.
In this situation, I think we should have a primary process, particularly for the presidential level.
And today, a big delay announced by Democrats who say they need until April 6th to look over all of those ballots, make sure they're okay before they decide how to split up the delegates between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. And Deanie, one interesting part to all of this is that when you look at just the actual numbers of votes cast last night, it was not a record breaker. Back in 2008, that's the last year that both the Democrats and the Republicans had contested primary elections, more than 430,000 Utahns voted. So last night, actually 150,000 fewer Utahns were involved and had their voices heard.
Yeah, it just seemed like such a big interest, but that's very interesting. Ladd, thank you.